Welcome to AXREM Insights, developing healthcare through medtech and innovation. Join Melanie Johnson and Sally Edgington as they talk with our industry leaders and experts.
Hello, I'm Melanie Johnson and I'm here with Sally Edgington. Welcome to episode 2 of our Partnerships podcasts. Today we have the pleasure to be speaking to Catherine Kirkpatrick, Development Officer at BMUS, the British Medical Ultrasound Society. Welcome, Catherine. Thank you for being on the show and allowing us to get to know you a little better. With our podcast theme being partnerships, I will hand over to you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what's your story.
So my name is Catherine Kirkpatrick. I wear many hats in the ultrasound world. I am a consultant sonographer at United Lincolnshire Hospitals. I'm also the development officer at BMUS, which I have been for many years now. I've also served on BMUS Council. I've been Honorary Treasurer. So I've been around a fair amount of time. I'm also the lead radiographer for advanced practice in radiology and clinical lead for ultrasound. So if you can fit all my email signatures on the bottom of my emails, it goes on to page 2, I think. So yeah, been around a long time.
Fantastic. And that's a good problem to have too many things to fit on your email signature. With what you've just said in mind, we just wondered why you're passionate about what you do and what are your drivers?
My drivers are what we do for our patients. It's the getting our patients through the diagnosis in the best possible and safest way. I mean, that's just the be all and end all really of everything that we do in the NHS in particular. So I guess the drivers are to advance sonographer careers and make patient safety and patient experience paramount, really.
Fantastic. And I'm obviously involved with BMUS. I sit on your council on behalf of AXREM, and I know we work very closely together with some of your colleagues sitting within some of our special focus group, especially our ultrasound special focus group. And I also attend your event in December, so I'm looking forward to coming to Coventry this year. So with that in mind, what are the main challenges and commitments for BMUS over the coming months?
The main challenges from many years now been around membership, how people afford membership. There's a cost of living crisis at the moment, which can affect our members quite significantly. So ensuring that we give really good value for money at our conferences and study days is really important to us. And also the cost of living crisis is affecting, prices for study days and what we have to pay to host them. And that can be quite a challenge as well. So a balancing act of finances is always quite a challenge while we provide the highest quality education that we can possibly can, bearing in mind that every single one of our not every single one, but apart from our office team, we rely so much on our experts' time and dedication for free. So, there's quite a lot to think about within that, really, while we try and continue to provide what we provide.
And I absolutely get that, because we're the same with AXREM. We're a not-for-profit organisation and we're a very small staff team, and we rely heavily upon the engagement and our members volunteering, and they're the kind of experts. So it's obviously very similar kind of membership, other than I know you guys have to fund your own membership as individuals rather than it being a company thing. I know one of the other kind of things that we speak about with BMUS is the workforce challenges in terms of the shortage of workforce. I just wondered if you wanted to talk a little bit about what BMUS are doing to address that.
So we have a workforce strategy officer in the guise of Pamela Parker, now Dr. Pamela Parker. So firstly, congratulations to the newly graduated Dr. Pamela Parker as well. We're very proud of her. And she is taking forward the issues with the workforce challenges, and we are looking at lots of projects, working in collaboration with NHSE, trying to find solutions that provide the best and safest service for our service users. We work in collaboration with the Society and College of Radiographers, CASE, the Royal College of Radiologists, and other professional bodies as well. And those collaborations are really key to really driving forward our intentions to try and support the registration and professional registration and statutory regulation of sonographers, as we believe that this is one of the biggest issues to face ultrasound practitioners and the safe service. So we continue to do that, and it will also then go hand in hand with other workforce issues, and we'll be able to solve some of those along with that as well. So what we're trying to avoid is creating a two-tier system where there are some that can and some that can't. We want the best for all ultrasound practitioners and a safe service.
Absolutely. And I talk a lot at AXREM about the fact that I think that industry has a role to play in terms of the workforce shortages, and some of the innovations and technologies that they provide can help create efficiencies within the system, so you guys have more time with your patients. So I hope that, over time the industry can continue to innovate, and obviously they spend a lot of money on research and development so that those innovations and those efficiencies can be created as well. So can you share with us any plans that you've got for BMUS 2024 in December? Because I'm really looking forward to it. You're much closer to me this year in Coventry than York last year. So I'm really looking forward to attending.
So the theme of our annual scientific meeting this year is working together in collaboration. Obviously, that means our industry partners, other members of the multidisciplinary team, ultrasound practitioners from all walks of life, our overseas colleagues, and all of those things add to, as we've just been saying, workforce changes, workforce strategies, patient safety, driving the standards ever higher and forward, new techniques. We're looking at AI. So the theme, really working in collaboration, is really important to us, especially at BMUS, where we're such a multidisciplinary organisation with lots of collaborative working partners.
Absolutely. And I see how important collaboration is. When I joined Action, we were quite a closed book, but now we've become much more open and transparent. And obviously we collaborate with yourselves and the SCOR in the kind of ultrasound space, and that's been really invaluable to us. So, and I know we helped run a session last year at your event in York around AI, and we're just currently working on what our session can be this year. I know you've penciled us in for a session, so we're just working on that now. I actually took Mel's question, so I'm going to let her take my question next.
No problem at all. Okay, so looking further ahead and horizon scanning, what do you think are the biggest challenges that you can see for industry in the future?
Well, there's been a lot of talk around AI, and I know that you did a session on that last year at the ASM, but I think we're only just scraping the surface. I think that industry have a responsibility to help practitioners understand in more detail. I think that there's a responsibility on both sides to understand where that is going to leave us and what direction we're heading in medico-legally, which is a huge concern for practitioners. I think we all have a responsibility to look at how we work with our ultrasound practitioners to ensure safe service and use of AI technologies. And I think to that end, we're looking at, BMUS are looking at delving into the world of AI in a much more strategic, constructive way, and producing some guidelines around AI to help practitioners within ultrasound, as I say, understand it, use it, and understand the responsibilities and safety aspects around it as well.
Yeah, and I've seen a big change in when I started AXFEM about 5 years ago. I think that there was quite a lot of pushback from the workforce around AI, and obviously, absolutely, AI has to be safe and make sure what's best for the patient. But I have seen a bit of a change in perception and direction from the clinicians, like yourself, where I think you are more open and willing to embrace AI as long as you understand it, like you say. And even I, don't fully understand AI. I know the basics to kind of get me through. And I think, like you say, there's a big education piece to be done. And I know that, industry would absolutely embrace the opportunity to help educate clinicians to really see the value and to use it to its maximum potential, because ultimately that's going to help you guys, like I say before, it with workforce shortages and creating lots of efficiencies within the system.
Yeah.
So what has been your kind of experience of practitioners and their perception on AI?
I think there's two camps. Those who sit in between. I think it's like politics, isn't it? There's the blue side, the red side, and the grey in the middle, isn't there? So I think that AI is a bit like that. It can be divisive. It's quite scary if you don't understand what you're using. I think the concerns are around medical legal impact. If the machine tells you to do one thing and you do another, who's responsible? Because you're told that it's ultimately you that's responsible. But then I attended a lecture where there's been some case law in America where somebody didn't use the AI and there was an issue there. So there's so much medical legal grey area there that who knows how we're going to unravel all of that. I think that people see the potential, but there's scepticism around where that leaves practitioners to operate safely. So I used to be probably in the super skeptical group, and now I'm moving into the grey area the more we sort of talk about it. So I think that, as you say, the more people understand and it becomes less scary. And I don't think that possibly people understand that they're already using AI to a certain degree anyway. If they're using automated fetal measurements, or they're using harmonics and SMI, or with a quick scan button, there are forms of AI we're not really aware of that we're already actually using, maybe as well. So there's a lot of work to do, I think. And I think that there's a good pragmatic approach is always the best way. So extremes of one side and the other are never useful. The middle ground is probably always the safest ground to take, if the most boring.
And I think as well, there's still a long way to go. And I think, like you say, that there's a lot of education. And I'm seeing in some of the trusts, you kind of get an AI champion that then it becomes, it opens other people up to AI as well, when someone's really super passionate about it and really can see how it can change practices. So I think as we see more kind of, if you like, AI champions within each of the trusts, I think that will help with how it's perceived, and hopefully as it's adopted going forward. And it is a gradual process. It's not suddenly overnight everything is going to be powered by AI, but it will be a gradual process where people will kind of warm up to it over time. So that's really good.
Slowly catch your monkey.
That's the one.
Oh, thanks, Catherine, for sharing that. Now for my quirky question. If you could hang around with any famous person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Preferably a live person. Dead people smell. I'm going to go with, I'm not sure I could decide on that immediately. I think there are two people that spring to mind. I think that the first would be Michelle Obama, and the second one, probably in a similar vein, but probably less people know, is a lady called Tracy Neville. So both of those people are extraordinary women in different ways. So I'd want to talk to Tracy Neville about her leadership skills and qualities and how she manages a group of very different individuals and gets the best out of people. I'd also want to know her coaching tactics for the netball team and take them back to my team as well. So I'd be completely picking her brains. And Michelle Obama would just make the best dinner party guest. And I think the whole world could learn a lot from that lady. And poise, dignity, and the famous phrase, when they go low, we go high. So I think there's a lot to be learned from such amazing women.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. I think, Michelle Obama, I'm sure she'd be a great dinner party guest and have some fantastic stories to tell as well.
I think she'd want to come to my dinner party as well, in all fairness. When she's asked that question, I'm pretty certain she says Catherine Kirkpatrick.
Absolutely. What we'll do, Catherine, is when we put this podcast out, we will tweet her and tell her that you want to have a dinner with her, and let's see.
Yeah.
We'll try our best.
Well, Trinity Devils from Manchester, so I'm more likely to get.
We'll tweet them both and we'll tag them and see whether they respond. That would be super amazing if they did. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've learned loads more about yourself and BMUS. A big thank you to Catherine for being our guest for today, and thank you to the listeners.
Join Sally and I next week when we will be speaking to representatives of fellow trade associations. If you have enjoyed today's podcast, don't forget to hit subscribe or feel free to share the podcast with friends.